I got pregnant with my daughter Emma at 18. I lived at home and was going to college and working. When I got pregnant, my parents kicked me out and I had to move in with my ex. I dropped out of school and quit my job to take care of Emma because my ex told me he would support me. When I was 22, he was 24, he graduated law school. He told me I had to move out because he wanted to find a wife. My parents had forgiven me, so I moved in with them. We didn't have a court order, but we split custody pretty much 25//75 with me having more time. When Emma was 6, he married his now wife. She couldn't have any more kids and wanted Emma and her daughter to be sisters. Over the next 3 years, Emma spent less and less time with me. She'd throw a fit if I tried to pick her up. They gave her things I couldn't. When she was 8, she told me she hated me. I never blamed her for the lies her father put in her head, because even though I lived at home, I was in college and working and did my best to provide her for her, but obviously they could do more. They took me to court when she was 10 and surprise, the lawyer and his doctor wife with their $1 million home beat me in court. They painted me out to be this horrible parent and Emma backed them up. They got primary custody and I got visitation. But Emma refused to see me. I gave her money and gifts. But she didn't want me in her life. When I was 30, I met my husband. He is the most amazing man I have ever met. He's seen me struggle with this and been very supportive. He has a daughter Emma's age and a son who is 5 years younger. They lost their mom and were very welcoming and loving. They treated me like their mom. Emma made zero efforts to get to know my husband and stepkids. Emma and stepdaughter just graduated high school this past May. And my parents also recently passed and gave me their estate since I am an only child. I have decided to pay for my stepdaughter's entire college tuition and buy her a car, pay for an apartment. Emma contacted me a week ago and told me she missed me and wanted to see me. This shocked me, seeing as we haven't talked in a year. We met up and she told me she heard my parents died and asked if she could have some money to pay for college. I was shocked and said, "Well, what about your dad and his wife?" She said, "My mom and dad want me to pay for this on my own to teach me responsibility, and I believe I am entitled to money. Seeing as you ruined my life," I was very hurt and told her, after years of ignoring me and telling me I am not your mother, you demand money from me. I am not your wallet. My husband is telling me what I did was right, but my ex is telling me I'm a piece of shit and I owe this to her. My stepdaughter feels bad and offered her college money because my daughter and her friends have been harassing her. I said, absolutely not, that is your money. I'm in a relationship with a guy who also works in tech. He makes $68K and I make $130K. I am a mechanical engineer at a robotics startup. He works at a more stable job doing programming at a large company. He brought me to meet his friends at a party and they asked me about myself. His friends mostly work in tech too and talked about themselves in terms of their jobs. I told them I'm an hiker, I do archery, I love road trips and camping and riding dirt bikes, etc. Basically talking about my hobbies, because work is just a way to get paid to do the shit I love. It's not how I define myself, and it doesn't come to mind when someone wants me to tell them about myself. One of his friends asked about work and I said, oh gosh, I don't want to talk about work at a party. Spent my whole day sweating my ass off in 95-degree heat trying to replace this busted ass motor just to find the replacement. I wasn't lying or trying to downplay that I have a good job. That really is how I spent my day. And I wasn't in the mood to talk shop at a party. Some other conversations came up casually that probably also made me seem poorer, like me saying that car dealership repairs were a ripoff, and telling my boyfriend that my childhood neighbor's trailer caught on fire and I was gonna visit and help her out. I wasn't doing it on purpose. I was literally just talking about my life, but I guess I gave the impression I was poorer. It got later in the night, everyone was getting drunker, and some of his friends, not close ones though, were making jokes about me growing up in a trailer and being a gold digger, and being ready to jump to a richer guy. Really misogynistic shit, honestly, since they don't even know me and seem to just assume all girls are good diggers. He didn't say anything. He later said it was because he'd smoked weed and gets quiet and has trouble carrying on a quick conversation when he's high. But regardless, I felt hurt he didn't say anything. I got irritated with his friends and asked, now why the hell would you say that when I make twice what he does? His friends went quiet for a second and I continued, there ain't no gold to dig here. not with him or anyone at this party. So do y'all think I'm cheap, or do y'all think? My boyfriend wanted to leave the party shortly after, and he was pretty upset with me for telling everyone I make twice what he does. I said I would have held my tongue if he'd checked his friends himself. But he didn't say anything, so I wasn't about to let them talk to me like that. He said it was humiliating, and now everyone thinks I'm a. And I flippantly said at least they know I'm a rich. He was angry. I embarrassed him when I spoke up. I was angry I had to say anything at all because his friends were talking shit, so it should be on him to check them. Tim and I met in an English literature class our junior year of college, and we've been together the 10 years since. While he ended up going into IT, I stayed in the liberal arts track and ended up doing non-profit work after college when I realized I didn't actually want to be a school teacher. Just to say that we always assumed he'd out-earn me by a considerable margin. Though when he made more, I always insisted we split things evenly to avoid potential resentment down the road. I've had sort of a non-linear career path, but ended up switching to the corporate world. To make a long story short, my liberal arts degree and time doing non-profit work gave me a lot of skills that enable me to really excel professionally in some more niche areas. I recently started a new job as a consultant, making way more than I'd ever anticipated. When I got the offer, I told Tim that the pay was amazing, but he didn't ask about the actual amount, and I didn't want to be braggy about it, especially since I was fairly sure it was above his current income. Well, we just put in an application for a new place, and in the process of having to submit our pay stubs, it's become obvious that I make roughly 30% more than he does now. I expected him to think that was cool, since he's a feminist and has always been super supportive of my career. But instead he's started to make increasingly harsh jabs about how I cheated the system to get where I am. That no English Lit major makes more than a cybersecurity professional without cheating somehow. His major point is that I got my first job out of nepotism, which set me up to trample more qualified people who didn't have the same advantages. It's true that I got my first post-college job after being referred by a sorority sister, but it was for non-profit work making $22K year, not exactly at somebody's daddy's firm. He also points out that at my first corporate job, I snagged a big promotion after volunteering to take on starting up the company's diversity //equity / inclusion program, and I'll admit that were I a white man, it's highly unlikely I would have been able to be the face of the eventually high-profile diversity program. Tim also notes that I was awarded a small college scholarship for being a promising female writer, when no such scholarship existed for males. But all that said, I still don't feel like I cheated the system, and it makes me angry to listen to him joke about it. Especially since I grew up blue-collar and worked full-time while going to school full-time to afford my degree. I reached a breaking point yesterday when he made a crack about how the new / first woman on his team is an obvious diversity hire. I told him that his jokes about women cheating the system to get ahead aren't funny or guy talk ribbing, as he says. They make him sound like an insecure little boy. He told me I was being a naive Karen, and we haven't really talked since yesterday. My mom and my mother-in-law threw me a surprise baby shower on Sunday and invited all of my family and most of my friends who are in my hometown. It was great. I don't usually get to see everyone when I visit, so it was really nice to have them all there. My sister is also pregnant. She is 34 weeks and I am 36 weeks. My mom and I have been planning her baby shower with her that will be 2 weeks from now. At the shower, everyone kept complimenting me on how tiny I am and how good I look, and I could see my sister was getting really jealous. It was really upsetting her, so I tried to change the topic, but after the first little bit she retreated to a table in the corner, with her friend looking incredibly angry. I tried to ignore it and we started playing shower games. Later, her friend asked if any of us knew where she was since she hadn't seen her in a while. Everyone was extremely worried because she wasn't answering her phone, and we thought she could have gone into labor or fallen or something terrible. The shower was in a party room at an arena, so it's a huge building, and everyone there, 70 of us, began searching the entire place up and down looking for her. Many people got into their cars to drive around the area and the different routes to the hospital to see if they saw her car. We also called her husband to see if he had heard from her, and he left work to help look. My other sister found her sulking inside a Timmy's. She refused to come back to the shower because she was upset that she wasn't getting any attention and everyone was fawning over me. It took a while for everyone who left to get back, and while we tried to carry on with the shower, the whole mood was soured and it was really awkward. I'm so upset with her now. I suspect once the baby comes I won't go down to my hometown as much, and I won't get to see many of those people as often as I did before. So that was my last chance to get together with everyone before the baby. It's not even the first time she's done something like this. At my wedding she complained to anyone who was willing to listen about how my husband is very touchy-feely with me. And now whenever he touches me in any way in front of her she'll grumble and roll her eyes like she is upset that he is attracted to me, or something. He dropped me off at the shower, and when we were talking to friends he was standing behind me holding my belly, and she said, "That's disgusting," and made a gagging noise. She also won't show up to something unless someone has called her to ask where she is and tell her we're waiting for her. It's a little game that she likes to play. I don't know what her problem is, but I'm so sick of it. She hasn't spoken to me since the incident and won't return my calls or texts, but I think she owes me an apology. If she can't apologize, I don't think I want to continue to plan and pay for her baby shower. Is that fair? My mom and my aunt think I just need to try to move past it because that's just how she is. My husband feels differently, and he thinks I should stop doing anything for her because she continuously disrespects us and our marriage.